Today we're going to use a strategy technique called tape diagrams to solve a ratio problem. And we can use tape diagrams to solve any kind of ratio problem. So today we're going to be making some green paint. And the name of the shade of green paint is Goofy Green Paint. And in order to get a batch of this GGP or Goofy Green Paint, we need to mix 3 gallons of blue paint with 4 gallons of yellow paint. And that will give us 1 batch of Goofy Green Paint. Now, we have done repeating the pattern, and I can solve this problem by writing the formula for the recipe for this green paint by doing this. I need to mix 3 gallons of blue, so that would be 1, 2, 3 gallons of blue. And let's see, I'm using orange instead of yellow because you can't see yellow. And 4 gallons of yellow. Okay, and that is going to give us a batch of this Goofy Green Paint, because when you mix blue and yellow, you do get green. Okay, now if you look, you can tell from this recipe that if I mix 1 batch of 3 gallons of blue and 4 gallons of yellow, I am going to get a batch of green paint that is 7 gallons of Goofy Green Paint. Why? Because it's a gallon of each. You could see 3 B's or 3 gallons of blue, 4 Y's or 4 gallons of yellow. So when I mix them together, I will have a total of 7 gallons. Now, let's say I want to make, let's say I have 12 gallons of blue. All right, so if I have 12 gallons of blue paint and I want to use it all up, I want to know how many gallons of yellow will I need to make this paint. I want to use all 12 gallons of blue because I don't want to waste it. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to label. We have to get used to, when we work with ratios, labeling is super duper important. Okay, so I am going to start with my blue, and and the reason this is called a tape diagram is because it looks like tape when you take tape from a dispenser. So I know that I have blue paint, and what I want to do is I want this tape diagram to reflect this original kind of recipe up here. So let's see, I want to reflect the original ratio. You always want your tape diagram to be the original ratio. So it looks like over here that I need 3 gallons of blue. Okay, instead of writing 3 B's, I'm going to make 3 boxes in my tape diagram. Okay, and the 3 boxes should look as identical as you can possibly make them. Okay, and so that's the blue. And if you look back at the ratio, you will see that we need 4 gallons of yellow. So I'm going to label this yellow, and I'm going to, and you can make this attached or not. I like to make it attached because then it kind of gives me a guide for making the yellow boxes about the same. Okay, so this is actually a tape diagram picture of a ratio of blue to yellow of 3 to 4. 3 boxes to 4 boxes. Okay, so these two things are actually the same, right? So this is the same as this. They're both kind of the recipe. Now, how am I going to use this tape diagram to solve the problem? Well, I have to ask myself a couple of things. So when I solve ratio problems, and this goes for all ratio problems, I'm going to ask myself some questions. I'm going to say, what am I comparing? Okay, and of course the answer here is blue to yellow. And the next thing is, what is the ratio? The next question is, what other information do I have? And the last thing is, what am I looking for? In other words, what will my answer look like? And these are always going to be some form of this is always going to be what you're dealing with a ratio problem. I don't need the words anymore because I have my picture. What am I looking for? Okay. Now, let's take a look at this. So, what am I comparing? Blue to yellow. I'm going to write that because remember, the order is super important. So I'm going to say I'm comparing blue to yellow. Okay, check. What is the ratio? The ratio is 3 to 4, and you'll notice 3 is under B because it's 3 blue, 4 is under yellow because it's 4 yellow. And the order, again, is super important in ratios. Okay, what other information do I have? Well, if you look back at the problem, it says that I have 12 gallons of blue. Okay, so I have 12 gallons of blue. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for how many gallons of yellow. Okay, so what to do? I've already reflected this in my tape diagram. Now, what am I going to do with this 12 gallons of blue? Well, I'm going to go back to my tape diagram, and I'm going to say these 3 boxes, they have to represent in this problem 12 gallons of blue. So that has to be 12. Now, in ratio problems with tape diagrams, and you will find this with fraction models as well, all the boxes have to be the same. So if I have 12 and I need to divide that evenly among 3 boxes, well, that's going to be 12 divided by 3, and that equals 4, and so I have to put a 4 in every box. Well, remember I said that I put the yellow kind of attached to the blue because I wanted to have the same size boxes, because in a tape model, a tape diagram, once I put a 4 in one of those boxes, I must put a 4 in every single box. And if you look, what do I have here? I have 4 boxes of 4, which would be 4 times 4, which is 16. And that is my answer, because what am I looking for? I'm looking for how much yellow. So I need 16 gallons of yellow. Okay, and that's one way to use a tape diagram. What if I had the same ratio? Okay, so blue to yellow, and it's 3 to 4. And so I know, again, what I'm comparing. I'm still making the same paint. What is the ratio? 3 to 4. What's the other information? What if I said to you, I need to make, let's see, I need to make 35 gallons, okay? I need 35 gallons of goofy green paint. All right, let's see how this looks. Guess what? My tape diagram is going to look the same. I'm going to put a B for blue, a Y for yellow. The ratio is still 3 to 4. 3 boxes for blue, 4 boxes for yellow. Okay, so that's the first question. The second question, what other information do I have? Now, this is a little different. This is interesting. I need 35 gallons of paint. So, the 35 gallons represents the total amount of paint. So, this whole thing needs to be 35. Now, remember we said that all the boxes in a tape diagram have to be the same. Well, how many boxes are there? Can you see there are 3 blue and 4 yellow? That would be a total of 7 boxes. So those 35 gallons must be divided by 7 so that I can put the same number in each. And 35 divided by 7 is going to be 5. Okay, so I have to put a 5 in each of these boxes. And let's make sure we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Now, I can answer a couple of questions. I can answer the question, how much blue paint will I need to make 35 gallons? And I will need 5, 10, 15. I will need 15 gallons of blue. And how much yellow will I need? I will need, let's see, we have 5. If you look at the model, 5, 10, 15, 20. I will need 20 gallons of yellow. Okay, so once you draw your model, you can answer a lot of questions. Remember a few things. Your model needs to reflect the ratio, so this is super important. Okay, if you label it in the wrong order, if I put the Y up here, if I put the Y here and the B here, I would get the question wrong because your order is important. So you're going to label. The number of boxes reflects the number under that label. Okay, so I have a 3. The blue part of the ratio is 3, so I draw 3 boxes. The yellow is 4, I draw 4 boxes. How do I get the number inside? From that extra piece of information, I have to divide it so that every box has the same number. And that is how we use tape diagrams.